Good morning. I hope everyone is okay. I know that we've suffered many tragedies in the last week between the mass shootings and the tornadoes and other devastation to our land and our people. It takes time to recover. And I have a pet peeve. One of them is I'm sick and tired of being ruled by the minority. A minority that seems to be so vocal that we cannot have fundamental change in our country. Change that we all need for the better. Mass shootings do occur. It's because people have no background checks. There is no ban on assault weapons, no ban on large magazines. So they allow a shooter to just put his hand on the trigger, and you can kill many in a short period of time. Those weapons don't belong in society. These mass murders are heinous. They're only part, however, of the larger problem. 45,000 people a year die from gun violence, from violence in their communities, and from suicide. We need background checks. We need counseling. We need some mechanism that tracks who gets a gun, who uses that gun, and they gotta have a good reason. Because it's an epidemic in this country. No other country in the civilized world has so many people dying from gun violence. So we've suffered. And I don't think Americans should be victims any longer. We're a proud nation and a proud multicultural country. We've had laws before. 1934, the gun laws went into existence. Why? Because of Al Capone and the Saturday Night Massacre. FDR understood. I think Joe Biden understands also. Let's put one law in place and then work on the others. The NRA, they used to be the rifleman. All of a sudden, they decided every weapon in every person's hand is a good thing? I don't think so. And I don't think the majority does either. I've canvassed folks in West Virginia. I know that hunters don't believe in assault weapons. A gun, yeah, they might shoot a coyote, they may shoot deer for food, but that's it. And what else do we need? We need to preserve our democracy. There's nothing more important. 250 laws are being written in 43 states by the Republican legislators. 2 states have already written those laws. One is Iowa, and trust me, the people, all people in Iowa, are not happy with voter suppression and curtailment of early voting days. They find that an affront. In Georgia, Brian Kemp has rewritten the voting laws of that state. However, I'm proud to say that Georgia activists are not sitting idly by. They're taking matters into their own hands, just like they did when they elected Ossoff and Warnock to the U.S. Senate. They're going to boycott Coca-Cola. And they think if they boycott Coca-Cola, that will put pressure on the GOP to rescind those laws. Might be a good idea in all 43 states. You got some important headquarters there, an influencer of the GOP. Well, put pressure on them and tell them you're not buying their products unless those laws are rescinded. After all, it's we the people, the majority, that counts, not the minority. And for too long, the minority has been ruling, and they haven't done anything to help us. Now we've got a vaccine to prevent COVID. We could probably give it to all our kids, and they would be safe too. And my advice to Biden would be, give everyone who wants the vaccine, and then we'll find out who doesn't take it. And if necessary, we'll keep a supply for those folks on hand as well, and then give away whatever we don't need and has gotten us to herd immunity to other people in other countries. Might as well share the wealth, and let's do it as soon as possible. The gateway to good health and good living is through those vaccines. They're a miracle of science. The mRNA platform is something that is going to help us for the rest of our lives. Once it's set up, there'll be research and development in all countries looking at viruses that may attack us, looking at booster shots for variants of those viruses, looking at bacteria that are antibiotic resistant. But those platforms will go global. And folks, that's what we need. We need to think on a global level, because when a pandemic comes, it sweeps the globe. And when it sweeps the globe, it means everyone's got to be vaccinated and everyone's got to be protected. Look what happens when a ship in the Suez Canal gets stuck. It backs up our supply chains globally. So when we're thinking about infrastructure, and thank God we're thinking about infrastructure, and I know we're going to do a massive infrastructure bill, we got to think about supply chains in America and supply chains around the world. We can no longer be limited by archaic systems. We need to expand and do it quickly. And Lord knows we've got the labor to do it. 10 million we know are not employed. At least 3.5 million, and I don't know if that's an addition or it's part of the 10 million. But those folks are long-term unemployed, and they're discriminated against, and they're not being utilized, and they have so much knowledge, because a lot of them are skilled individuals in their 40s and 50s who industry has made them retire early. Early to what? Early so industry could make a big profit on the backs of the young. But you don't discard people in their prime working years. That's a sin. It's a crime. It's almost as much of a crime as what Kroger has done. They made over 10% increased profits last year because people in their stores, their employees, worked hard. And yet, in every store that there was asked to have a $4 or $5 an hour pay increase for the hazards the employees faced. Kroger closed the stores. That's not right. They don't even impact your bottom line, Kroger. I think we've seen enough of late-stage capitalism and greed in this country. It's time that capitalism goes back to being the servant of we the people too, and values their employees. Because without employees, you don't have customers, and without customers, you don't have a business. I think it's time the majority rules. And if democracy cannot survive because the filibuster is in place, I'd change the parliamentarian. Why should we go by rules that will hamper democracy when we have a minority far right that is just waiting to create havoc in our land? No siree. We need a voting public, a public that is enfranchised, that is automatically registered, that gets rid of laws that get rid of gerrymandering, get rid of dark money in politics, expand the absentee ballot, and make sure that people are treated with dignity and respect and can only opt out of the system instead of opting in. We're going to build back better, folks. It's not a slogan. It's got to be, and I'm convinced it will be, a reality. So our future is bright. Let's not let the minority rule us any longer. It's the majority rules. And speaking of the majority, it's many people's holidays over the next couple of days. There's Ramadan, there's Passover, and Easter's coming up. So never miss an opportunity to celebrate. We've gone through a lot, everyone. We deserve some quality time with our families. There's nothing more precious. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you next week. You can bet on it. Thank you for listening.